Hey guys, it is the AFL Yank back here again doing another AFL tipping video. This is going to be my tips for round 19 of the 2021 AFL season. I did pretty well in round 18. Did pretty well. But yeah, last round I ended up getting, I believe, 6 games. Yeah, I tipped 6. I tipped 6 games correct. And then, tipped 6 out of 9 last round, although 7 if you do count the draw. But yeah, I tipped, 7 if you count the draw, of course. But yeah, I did really freaking well last round. A really pretty good round this season. I did really good in round 18, honestly, in tipping. But yeah, feeling really confident right now. Just feeling really confident. Feeling pretty easy. And all that goodness, and yeah. So yeah, we're going to do a quick review of round 18. This will be much quicker than usual, but yeah. Geelong won by 69 points. Nice against Freo. A big win for them. Then, one of the tips that I got wrong was the Brisbane Lions. I tipped them to beat Richmond, and yeah, unexpectedly, the Tigers came roaring back, even with the injury of Dustin Martin, which definitely is going to hurt them for the rest of the season, honestly. Honestly, it's just really going to hurt. Honestly, it's definitely going to hurt their chances of potentially making finals, honestly. I get Dustin Martin, he hasn't been the same player he has usually been, but he isn't the same player he usually is, but regardless, he still contributed well to Richmond this season, but yeah. Then, Port win by 13 points against St. Kilda. A pretty solid game from both sides, but yeah, Port were the better side, and Port has now punched their ticket into the top 4, following the Lions losing. Then, the Western Bulldogs beating the Gold Coast Suns by 11 points. This is the third time in the past 3 rounds where the Dogs have held their opponent to 79 points. Although the Swans, of course, won the match against them. But yeah, the Dogs continuing to have a strong run overall, continuing to impress. And then the draw this round, Melbourne versus Hawthorn, a 79-all draw. It was a pretty intense game. I am a little bit of respect to Hawthorn. They have been playing really solid footy as of late, but still, regardless, I do dislike them because obvious reasons, mainly rivalry. Obviously, the rivalry between, the Swans and Hawthorn, of course, but yeah. Then, North Melbourne. Well, not North, but yeah, North Melbourne and Essendon matched up at Metricon. A 3-goal win for Essendon. Very dominant performance, and for the first time all season, even with how good they've been, they finally sneaked their way into the top 8 for the first time this season, which makes Essendon this season the 15th team. Yeah, this makes Essendon the 15th team to have been in the top 8 all season. And honestly, they deserve it. They have been playing really good footy as of late, admittedly. But yeah, 5 out of the 6 AFL teams have been in finals this season. With I believe, 4 teams have been in the top 8 since round 1. Those 4 being Port, Melbourne, Sydney, and the Western Bulldogs. But yeah. But nonetheless, North Melbourne, they've actually been doing really well as of late, and I gotta give plenty of respect to them. They've been playing some really solid footy as of late, and honestly, I don't think they should be staying at the bottom for too long. I mean, I don't see them making finals next year, but I think they'll be in finals contention. I feel like they'll be in finals contention in the next couple of years. And then next, tipped Collingwood to beat Carlton, mainly because of, recent matchups, but yeah, it didn't happen. And it ends up being almost a 5-goal win for Carlton, and they continue to show they're at least... Well, their performances, around this time remind me a lot of 2000s Richmond, honestly. I feel like Carlton might finish 10th, but I mean, they had a solid performance against the Pies, especially with the Pies on a downward spiral, but regardless, even with this performance, I still don't see the Blues making finals. and especially not the Pies. Basically, their season's over. And then Adelaide Oval, big win for the West Coast Eagles as they finally get a dominating win on the road with a 42-point win. A pretty well-deserving win with how they fought. Yeah, the Crows are just, like, even with all the, Crom memes and stuff, like, they're just not really the best aside. They're just not really there yet. They have shown a lot of promise, but I just don't think they're at that level yet, honestly. But yeah. And finally, at Metricon Stadium, it is the Sydney Derby. A big win for the Sydney Swans as they overcome a 35-point margin against GWS after a horrific first quarter. Everything just clicked for the Swans in that last night. Just everything just clicked like a puzzle piece. Just everything clicked incredibly well, and I am just so damn proud of the effort. We never gave up. We never backed down. Just a lot of optimism and confidence heading in after that game. Fantastic performances by McInerney, and of course the Brett Kirk medalist Luke Parker wins his third medal. And then, of course, last night's Brett Kirk medal, of course, went to Luke Parker. Just an overall fantastic performance last night. And also, a marvelous performance by both Buddy Franklin and Tom Papley as they combined for 8 goals. All of them scoring 4 goals each. And Papley had one of the best damn goals I've seen all season. I swear, him and Amarty are up there for goal of the year contention for sure. Hell, I'm going to say this, Amarty's going to win the award. Just mark my words. I feel like Amarty's going to win the award. Just that goal against the Western Bulldogs was just incredible. And not just that, we won this game without Kayla Mills or Harry Cunningham. Which, they are unfortunate losses, but even with them out for 2 weeks as they're, with the COVID protocols and stuff, they're going to be back probably. Well, I don't see them. They're obviously not going to play against Frio because of the COVID protocols, and probably not against Essendon, of course. But when they come back in August, most likely August 8th, I believe when they're coming back. Well, they're coming back probably round 21, which is their third to last game in the regular season. But yeah, regardless with their absences, this is definitely a great opportunity for both James Rowbottom and Dylan Stevens to solidify themselves. And Rowie did a really damn good job last night too. He was really good. Fantastic. It was great to see Rowbottom back on the main side, and hopefully, I'm really confident that he'll stay on the best 22 with the likely returns of Mills and Cunningham in round 21, which I believe we're facing. Well, we're not. Shoot, I forgot who we're facing. Oh yeah, we're facing St. Kilda in round 21. Yeah, we're going to be facing St. Kilda in round 21. And then round 22, we're facing North Melbourne. And then that's round 23. Round 22, round 22, we're facing North Melbourne. And in round 23, we're going to be facing Gold Coast again. But yeah, nonetheless, proud of the performance last night. We never gave up. Looking forward. I mean, yeah, GWS were missing a lot of key pieces. Shane Mumford was out. And of course, the biggest absence was Toby Green, who was out due to the COVID protocols, as well as De Boer. And then also, who else was also absent from that game? I believe it was, But yeah, and then also the Giants did lose Kelly in the third quarter, which was a massive loss for them. He got badly injured. A little bit of karma from, Hickey's injury earlier this season, but still, it's still unfortunate. But yeah. Now, let's get on to round 19, and I'm going to be making my predictions. So, Friday night at Adelaide Oval, it is Port Adelaide versus Collingwood. Port coming off a big win coming off the huge win against. Oh my god. Yeah, Port coming off the big win against. I think it was, yeah. No, wait. Oh my god, I can't. Yeah, Port's coming off the big win against St. Kilda. Just a massive win from the Saints. Well, no, massive win from Port last round. And then Collingwood, they're coming off the big loss against Carlton. And looking at this game, honestly, I feel like but yeah, at the end of this, oh my god, I'm like mixed up. But yeah, for this round, I feel relatively confident about tipping Port. I believe they are the more superior side as of right now, and I'm gonna say Port win this by probably 40 points. I feel like they could definitely get a big win over the Pies. Like if they keep up the form they have been doing as of late, I feel relatively confident about them. But yeah. And the next Saturday matches. The first match, which is currently set to take place at GMHBA Stadium. It might change as, of course, the Swans protocol issues going on. If the COVID issues going on in Victoria. Although, we'll see what happens. Like, things could definitely change for the better, and I think I'm relatively confident that things will get better in Victoria, and I think we'll be all right to come back. But yeah. But yep, at the moment, this game is set to be held at GMHBA, although it might be changed. It could be held at Kazali Stadium or probably the GABA if things do get bad in Victoria. But nonetheless, Swans facing Freo. The Dockers coming off a massive loss against Geelong, a massive 69-point loss to Geelong. A really piss poor performance from them overall, but yeah, this is the second time both teams are matching up. The Swans, of course, did match up with the Dockers, I believe, in round 10, I think it was. Yeah, it was round 10 when they met. It was of course a pretty unfortunate loss. Buddy Franklin dominated against the Dockers, and to be honest, I feel like he'll dominate again against the Dockers. I feel relatively confident that he could likely boot 3 goals at least. But yeah, the Dockers coming off the big loss. Not really that confident in the Dockers heading into these next few rounds. They have a really difficult schedule. But yep, I'm gonna say this: I am really confident in the Swans, especially after that big win last night. I feel like we got the edge right now. I mean, we're obviously not going to have Mills and Cunningham this round again due to the COVID protocols, but hopefully they come back stronger than ever, which they likely will. They obviously will pretty much, since COVID, obviously relatively those who are really healthy, usually get through COVID incredibly well, but yeah. Mills and Cunningham, they should be well, re-energized by the time they come back in round 21 against St. Kilda. Because I believe that's when they're coming back, most likely, is round 21. Because, of course, they have to, isolate for 2 weeks. But, yeah, nonetheless, they should be well energized. I feel like Rowie will stay on the main side after that. And, yeah, relatively confident in the Swans heading into this game. I feel like we'll get a big win. I reckon we could get a very big win against Freo. I reckon we could get a pretty big win against Freo. Very, very confident about a big win this upcoming round, especially with the efforts we had last night. Like, we have very much well progressed throughout this season. We have done very, very well as of late. This is our longest winning streak since the first 4 rounds, of course. I know I said first 3 rounds on the chat yesterday, but I wanted to correct my error. But this is the longest winning streak we've had since round 4. And I feel relatively confident that I think we'll actually win. I think we'll actually go undefeated from the rest of the point here. I mean, I get the Essendon and St. Kilda games will definitely, they could definitely give us some challenges, but I don't feel really that much worried about them, honestly. Like, I feel relatively confident about us. Just all the all the strengths that we have had so much expressions of strength as of late. Just lots of strong performances. But yeah. And then next, very, very confident in the Swans. Just very optimistic. A lot of optimism and confidence heading in the next round. Heck, pretty much the rest of this season overall. Like, I feel really confident that we could actually, we could do the impossible. With how we've overcome, the frustrations and the blunders this season. And then next at the MCG, it is the Brisbane Lions versus Hawthorn. The Hawks coming off a massive draw against the D's, almost beating them, of course. And then the Lions, they're coming off a brutal loss against. But yeah, the Lions are coming off the horrendous loss against the Richmond Tigers. I really do honestly want the Hawks to win this game, but I think the Lions will get the job done. Like, even if Hawthorn play well and make this game a close one, I still feel confident about Brisbane getting the job done. Then next at Marvel Stadium, well, at the moment, hopefully, I think things will get better for sure. But yeah, Marvel Stadium, it is Essendon versus GWS. The Dons coming off. I keep saying the Dons. The Bombers coming off the big win. Yeah, the Bombers coming off a massive win against North Melbourne, and GWS, they're coming off the brutal loss against the Swans, and I feel relatively confident about the Bombers in this game. I think they could definitely hold on their spot into the 8, and yeah, I feel relatively confident about Essendon making the 8. Actually, they've shown their strengths, and they have proven themselves this season. They have really proven themselves. Yeah, I'm relatively confident about Essendon coming into this game, especially with the fact that GWS will have no Toby Green or Matt DeBoer the next 2 rounds with the COVID protocols, which is definitely a pretty big blow for GWS. Plus, the Giants will have no Kelly as well, which is also if Kelly is out long term for GWS, it's definitely going to be a massive blow for them too. But yeah, relatively confident about Essendon in this game. I think they should get the job done. And yeah. And next at TIO Stadium in Darwin, I think, although I might be wrong about that. I'll just do some quick research, by the way. Guys, alright? But yeah, currently the game at TIO Stadium, aka Marinara. Yeah, it's in Darwin. Alright. No. Marrera. Alright. But yeah, next game, it is Gold Coast versus Melbourne, most likely set to take place in Darwin at the moment. I mean, that would definitely be a really entertaining game to see. Yeah, set to be taking place in Darwin in the Northern Territories. This is definitely going to be a really interesting game. But yeah, Gold Coast, they're coming off the loss to, I believe. Yeah, Gold Coast, they're coming off the loss to the Western Bulldogs. They did fight really hard early on, but just the Dogs proved to be the better side overall. And then the D's, they're coming off. And then the Demons, they're coming off the draw against Hawthorn. This one should be a really interesting game. I have an odd feeling this might be a close one, honestly. The Saturday night game should definitely be a really interesting one. But yeah, nonetheless, I feel like the D's will get the job done, even if this game does end up being close. I think the D's will get the job done here. Although Gold Coast, I think could. I wouldn't be surprised if Gold Coast won. I mean, the D's have been a little bit have had some clumsy games against weaker sides. But yeah. And then the next Saturday game, it is the West Coast Eagles versus St. Kilda at Optus. The Eagles coming off a very, very strong win. But yeah, the Eagles coming off a strong win against Adelaide, and I think this will definitely be a really interesting game as well. This could definitely be a possible thriller. But with the home advantage the Eagles have, I'm relatively confident in them. The Eagles have definitely shown that they're the better side at home most of the time, and yeah, relatively confident in the Eagles coming into this game. And then next at Morris Stadium in Ballarat, although it is set to take place there at the moment, just with the COVID situation going on. But yeah, it is the Western Bulldogs versus the Adelaide Crows. The Dogs coming off a massive win again. The Dogs coming off a big win against Gold Coast, and the Crows, they're coming off a big loss against the West Coast Eagles. And to be honest, I do not feel confident in the Crows at the moment. I mean, they have shown promise this season, but their season's basically over. They just do not have enough. I just don't think they're at the level. They're just not there yet. I mean, they do have a lot of promise. They're the youngest side in the league. They are the youngest side in the league, and the inexperience has shown, although they've had some fantastic wins, but even with that, I feel relatively confident in picking the Dogs. Like, I think they should definitely get the job done here. Just the Crows have just not been a good side as of late. They did show that promise early on this season, but I just don't think they don't have enough pressure to upset the Dogs. I don't see them pulling off what they did against the D's, honestly. But yeah, so that is my tip for the Dogs. And the next at the MCG, it is the Geelong Cat. The start of the Sunday games, it is the Geelong Cats versus Richmond. The Tigers coming off a huge win. Coming off the big win. But yeah, the Tigers coming off the big win against the Brisbane Lions, and the Geelong Cats coming off a pretty big win. Of course, coming off the huge 69-point win against Freo. This one's going to be an interesting game, honestly, but just with the Tigers having no Dustin Martin and all that, and with the Cats being relatively, healthy and stuff, I feel like I'm feeling relatively confident about Geelong in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a thriller, though. Like, I think this could definitely be a close game, honestly. But yeah. So I'm going for the Cats in this game, hoping, my prediction's accurate, and yeah. And then finally, at Marvel Stadium, it is Carlton, who's coming off the big win against the Pies, and North Melbourne coming off a pretty surprisingly close loss to Essendon. But even with this, the Roos, even with how good the Roos have been as of late, like how solid they have been, I still don't see them really making a huge impact. I still don't see them making a run at the end of this season. I mean, they're obviously out of finals contention, but I just don't really see them making a run. And I'm relatively more confident in Carlton in this game. Like they have shown the efforts. They have had some momentum as of late, and honestly, I feel relatively confident about choosing the Blues. But yeah. But nonetheless, I think the Blues should get this win. I still don't see them making the 8 this season, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I would not be surprised if they defeated the Roos. They have had the viability to achieve that, and yeah. So yeah, those are my tips for round 19. I'm gonna be doing the quick squiggle, the quick squiggle ladder margin, and yeah. So for Port versus Collingwood, I am gonna go for I'm gonna say, of course, Port win by 30 points, I believe. No, wait, win by 40. I'm gonna say Port win by 40. Swans, I think, could get a big win against the Dockers, especially if it is played at GMHBA. Like, to be honest, I'm actually pretty confident about this game. I'm not gonna say it's a too big of a winnable margin, but I think I'll say it's a pretty good winning margin. See, I'm gonna go 38 points, and look at that, the Swans in 5th. The Swans move up to 5th, finally move up out of 6th, but I just don't think it'll last too long. Hawthorn versus Brisbane. This should definitely be a really interesting game, but I think the Lions will just get the job done pretty much. But yeah, Essendon versus GWS. Definitely a really interesting game here, but with how the Giants how their struggles have been coming on, I think the Bombers should get a possible big win here. D's versus Giants. I'm gonna say probably 17 points, just with how Melbourne have been a little bit sluggish against weaker sides, but I think they'll still get the job done. West Coast versus St. Kilda. I actually think this game will be a possible thriller, but I think the Eagles will win by 13 points. Dogs versus Adelaide. I do not see the Crows pulling off an upset here. I think the Dogs should heftily get the job done. I'll say 27 points. Actually, just to make things accurate, I'm going to say Crows score 79 and Dogs 106. Just, the trend of them letting teams score 79 points on them. Geelong versus Richmond should be a close game, but I'll say they'll win by 7 points. And finally, Carlton against North Melbourne. I think the Blues will get a decent win here. I'll say 23 points. And here is the ladder margin. D's first, Dogs second, Cats third, Port fourth, Brisbane fifth, Swans sixth, Eagles seventh, and Bombers eighth. Then Tigers ninth, Blues 10th, Dockers 11th, Saints 12th, Giants 13th, Suns 14th, Pies 15th, Crows 16th, Hawthorn 17th, and North Melbourne in 18th. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tipping video. I am the AFL Yank signing out. Guarding the Swannies.